Hi guys, this is Erica Weston with Fox Sports Midwest, and you're listening to my favorite St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio.
Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by Manscaped, the very best in men's below-the-waist grooming.
Oh my God.
Get 20% off and free shipping with promo code LGB at manscaped.com. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped.
As the world's only personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment and your DNA, ID Life provides its members with high-quality ingredients backed by pure science.
It's science.
Check out rockinthatidlife.com and speak with Dustin about how you can reach your goals today. That's rockinthatidlife.com.
Welcome to Season 9, Episode 19 of Let's Go Blues Radio. We're the often imitated but never duplicated, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code LGB. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped. And by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Talk to Dustin at rockinthatidlife.com. That's rockinthatidlife.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. We are broadcasting live on Tuesday, January 19th, 2021. This is franchise episode number 285 all time. Your hosts tonight are yours truly, Curt Price, Bill Day, and Jeff Ponder. And for your listening pleasure, for the next little while, we'll be talking St. Louis Blues hockey, covering a few notable topics in the first two games of the season versus the Colorado Avalanche. We'll discuss last night's win versus the San Jose Sharks and chat with our good friend AJ Strong from Teal Town USA to get his thoughts on the game. The Sharks situation in Arizona, and other things. So, surely it's a stage name, right? AJ Strong? That can't be his real name.
I was actually going to say that. I'm like, I got to ask him, is that his real name? I don't know why that just hit me now.
It's got to be a stage name. It sounds too cool.
Probably like Alexandria Pumpernickel or something is probably his real name.
That's what she should. See, I'd have gone with that. That'd been
That's way cooler.
Take up too much real estate on the screen, though. It's too big. AJ Strong is nice and short. Les Curt is on Twitter, too, in your tag.
I knew a guy back in the day whose name was he went by BJ, which I was like, come on, man. But I found out his real name was Bjorn. And I'm like, Bjorn's a way cooler name.
What year are we talking? Bjorn now.
04 maybe?
Bjorn now yeah.
Was he truly Nordic, or were his parents just...
His parents were. His parents were Nordic.
Yeah.
Did he play tennis?
Go with it.
The only Bjorn I know played tennis.
That's a great question. I can ask him. I'll look him up and ask him.
If he did or does, then that's 2 for 2 with Bjorns as far as playing tennis.
That'd be amazing. At least it's not Bjork.
Right. To interact with our show on social media, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of our social media info is posted at letsgoblues.com, where you can also find past episodes of the show, browse the fan discussion forum, and visit our shop where you can get some awesome blues-themed t-shirts and stickers that help support the show. We are dual live streaming right now on YouTube and Facebook, so thank you for joining us. If you have not already done so, please subscribe to the show. And if you're listening on the podcast, we do live stream on the show on YouTube and Facebook every week during the season. So if you'd like, feel free to check that out in the future. What do you guys got for beers of the show this week?
Before we get into that, we have a special guest. You mentioned AJ Strong was going to join us, but
Yep.
I've got a special guest in studio, guys.
Is it your cat?
No. Well, he's around here somewhere, I'm sure. But no, I've got a special guest in studio. His first time at my house. This is the Stanley Ponder Cup, folks. Look at that. There she is. In all its glory.
The first time at your house.
It's been getting passed around since it's won. And it's never been to this house.
Oh, that house. Because you won the first year.
Oh, yeah. We lived off Manchester back then.
Yeah, okay.
So But yeah, this is first time in this house. So I know I'm holding the trophy and I shouldn't be because I haven't won it since 15. But for anybody who cares, you can take a look there. Look at that. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. That's Jeff Ponder right there. That's me. Curt, have you won this? You've won this one, right?
My name should be on there. I was on Dustin's team.
Oh, yeah, there you are. There you are. Yeah. There we go.
There it is. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, the year after. Yeah. Second year. Of course.
My name is not on there.
That's true. You're there in spirit.
I had a good tournament in
no,
16. I had a good tournament. I had a good tourney.
You did. But yeah, we're that was the year your daughter won like everything in the raffle too.
Yep. She was ecstatic.
But I want to go ahead and announce this, and this has not been announced anywhere else, but we are going to have to reschedule, unfortunately, again, the Stanley Ponder Cup Memorial Tournament. From November, we've scheduled it to March. Now we're talking probably June. So anybody who's interested in coming or playing, we are talking about opening it up to another team, so having 6 teams instead of 5. So that would open up more spots for players. The only issue is this time is high school hockey wasn't going to play this year, but then all of a sudden, I guess Missouri inline hockey was, okay, we're going to play anyway. So they have an obligation, the rink, to do whatever high school hockey wants. So they're busy that weekend. So we're going to post a new date here soon. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and I'll update anybody who's interested.
The official beers of episode number 285. Do we have beers this evening? I'm sure we do. We always do.
We always do. Jeff tweeted his. I tweeted mine. Well, I put mine on Untapped and shared it. Why don't you go first this week, Jeff?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to add that I'm chasing my beer with some wonderful hydration from our friends at ID Life. Remember, rocking that idlife.com. Great stuff. But my beer of the episode is one of my favorite locals, Urban Chestnut Zwickel. Just a wonderful light beer and something that it's very sweet. I like sweet, but I can only have maybe 1 or 2 of them before I'm like, okay, now I need to get to something dark. But very good beer if you've never had it.
Yeah, and it's always hard to, with the European pint portions that Urban Chestnut sells. It's hard to really dig into multiple offerings, of Zwickel, Schnickelfritz, even Thrales, the Imperial Stout. Hard to do more than one.
Agree.
Yeah, Bill.
Yet another pale ale from Surly. This one is Periscope. I picked up the 12-pack multi-pack. I forget what they call it, but it's got I picked it up for the espresso milk stout, which is good. Forgot to put one in the fridge. That would have been my beer tonight. Maybe next week. And it's got a couple other pale ales, and then the flagship Furious. It's a pale ale. It's citrusy. It's got hops, and that's all I got to say about that.
My beer the show is themed this week. I've got the old see that?
Ooh, Narragansett.
Narragansett?
It's Narragansett. It's Rhode Island. I'm familiar.
It's it's the beer that Quint crushes in his hand on the boat. And then it's followed up by Hooper crushing a styrofoam cup in Jaws. So that is not my beer. That's an empty can I have in my collection. So, but the one I'm actually drinking is the locker room supply from Center Ice Brewery in St. Louis, Missouri. So I enjoy this lager.
I've got the pale ale, a revolving pale ale from Center Ice as my second beer. So we will be cheersing some Center Ice brews later.
It's a Center Ice show.
Mhm.
I really need to make the trip over there because I cannot find it for the life of me anywhere on this side of the river. And
I don't
so
I don't think it
it's
is.
about time I make it over there.
Yeah.
I've bought it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've bought it at Total Wine here before, but not lately.
Yeah, I know they're at Friar Tuck. I'm not sure about anywhere else, but I know for a fact the one in Kirkwood or whatever that is, Sunset Hills. I've been there multiple times to buy center ice beer.
I don't think Friar Tuck has it here in Edwardsville, though.
They do not.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
They do not.
Today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues History Twitter account, January 19th, 2013. Vladimir Tarasenko. This is actually a very nice run of Today in Blues history items. Tarasenko made his NHL debut and became the second St. Louis Blues player. First was Doug Palazzari to score 2 goals in their first NHL game, named the number 1 star in the game, and the Blues 6-0 win versus the Detroit Red Wings. Such a kick-ass game because this was after the Wings' heyday, but it was still really nice to stick it to the Wings, and they hung
and that was
6 spot on them.
And that was the day that Stan Musial passed. And so St. Louis was kind of reeling from that. And then Blues come out and trounce the rival Red Wings 6-0. That was a very nice moment for St. Louis sports.
Yep. I will never forget that game. I was on my couch just going ballistic.
That was the first game my son ever watched.
Is that right?
Yeah, because he was born that summer, July of 12. And, of course, they were locked out at the beginning of 12. So that was the first game of the season on the 19th. And that was the first game he sat and watched with me. And even then, a little tyke, he was, I remember in his bouncer, little bouncy chair thing, what are those things called? And he just could not keep his eyes off the screen. He loved it. And he's still, every day, every time the Blues come on, I love it. He's been a fan since being a baby.
If I had the clip of my daughter saying Red Wings suck when she was like 2 years old, I'd play it right now. Red Wings suck. January 19th, 2009. This game was not televised. This was still back in the day when there was a couple games a season that were not televised. For whatever reason, they chose 1 or 2 games that weren't on TV locally in St. Louis. You can see video of this because it was televised on the Northeastern Sports Network, NESN. But David Backes, January 19th, 2009, David Backes scores with less than 1 second left in the game on a fantastic out of midair shot, batted the puck out of midair off a rebound to tie the game in the St. Louis Blues 5-4 shootout victory versus the Boston Bruins. Preceded that was a great save by Barrett Jackman in goal. On the vacated net just prior to the Backes goal to tie it up. Shootout goals by Oshie and Boys in this game. Mason was in net for the Blues. And this was a game that kind of sparked the historic turnaround for the Blues that season. So that was and there was so much that happened in this game. So, and you've got the Blues were 17-23-4 prior to this game. Boston was 33-7-5, so it was a stark contrast in teams. If you haven't seen this goal, and you're a fairly new fan, because it happened 11, 12 years ago. 11, I guess, 10 years ago. Was it? 9, so 11 years ago.
12.
Almost
carry the one.
11, yeah.
Yeah.
It's math. But yeah, at SW's History has the clip on Twitter. It's on YouTube. Fantastic goal and a nice finish for the Blues in the shootout. This was actually a rather soap opera like season for the Blues because they started off terrible. They were supposed to make the playoffs, and then they kind of 19, but they didn't finish as good as 19 in the playoffs. But there was a lot that happened this season. Eric Johnson had his golf cart accident incident prior to the season. He was an 18, didn't play a single game this year. The Palin curse happened this season to Legacy. For those unfamiliar with the Palin curse, it first reared its ugly head in Philadelphia earlier that season by a few weeks prior to this game when it happened to the Blues. So in October of 2008 in Philadelphia, when the Flyers owner Ed Snyder invited Sarah Palin to drop the ceremonial first puck before their home opener against the Rangers. The Flyers lost that game and went on to lose their next 6, and the Palin curse was born. So then just a few weeks later, Blues owner Dave Checketts invited Palin to drop the puck at a home game versus the Kings. Amanda Legacy tripped over the red carpet that was brought out for the ceremony and injured his groin. The Blues lost the game 4-0 and lost their starting goalie for 5 games, and then never really got back on track, and he was then demoted to the AHL a few months later. Ben Bishop made his start in this game.
Yeah,
So,
that was some great. Yeah, in that game, but no, this game in particular. Well, they referenced Alexander Steen and David Perron when they won the Cup. They referenced this season when they were talking. I don't remember what interviews it was, but I know both of them had brought it up that this felt like that season in 2009 when they just went on a ridiculous turn, and it was because of this game. That's I remember them talking throughout the season. What was the turnaround? And everybody said David Backes' goal with less than a second left against the Bruins. Like that was the rallying moment for the Blues. And let's not forget the most important factor of why the turnaround happened that season. Eric Brewer did not play a game.
Right. He was
the rest of that season.
The only season with the Blues that he played with the Blues, they made the playoffs, and he didn't play.
Yep.
Coincidence?
He was injured all year.
Yeah, I don't know.
Go figure.
Yep. What a terrible guy. Terrible player.
Eric Brewer was so bad.
I forgot how I finished that up. That was part of our trivia back in the day.
It was.
I think I had 3 questions in a row that start out. Eric Brewer was so bad. January 19th, 1899. That's right, 1899. The very first ice hockey game in St. Louis was played at the Ice Palace. Washington University lost 2-1 to an all-Canadian team. I guess they don't have a name. They refer to them as an all-Canadian team. So this is not Blues news, but it's hockey news at St. Louis, and it's pertinent. So it's 2-1. Not too bad for a thrown together team from Wash U, and it's the first official ice hockey game ever played in St. Louis. I assume, that was a long time ago, but you'd have thought some colleges and things would have club teams or something, or surely people played ice hockey, just nothing official in the league, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
It's got to be the case. It has to be. Although, who knows?
I'm looking at some of the names here. I'm not recognizing any of them, but I'm sure they were some of the best names around for Canada. It's impressive that they only lost 2-1.
Yeah, the game was still nascent at this point, so
that's true.
In just reading the description is like the reporting from 1899. Right?
It's so funny, the verbiage that's used and everything. It's just the terms. It doesn't sound like the review of a hockey game at all. It does, but it's just different.
And while the play on both sides was a bit crude.
It's so polite. It's such a polite review. Oh, man. So before we get into the Blues news, we can run through a couple NHL items in our rapid fire hockey tidbits. Tracking pucks temporarily discontinued by the NHL. Concerns were raised about the puck's performance during the first few days of the 2020-21 season. After review, it was determined that the first supply of pucks did not receive the same precise finishing treatments during the offseason manufacturing process as were used during the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs. Whatever that means, the finishing treatments. They expect new tracking pucks to be available soon after appropriate quality testing has been done, and pucks from the 19 and 2020 season will be used until then. That's weird.
Okay. First of all, the treatment that they're talking about is they give every puck to Wayne Gretzky, and he rubs them on his hands and he kisses it, and then he hands it back to the NHL.
Did not think you were going to say hands.
Yeah, I was thinking about saying something else, but I thought, you know what? It's still early in the show. There might be some kids watching.
Yes. That's never.
Let's not go after dark. Let's go Blues Radio right off the bat here. And the second thing I want to say is apparently this only affected the second game of the Blues season. So here they're going to replay it.
It's funny because they did say that the ice looked terrible in Colorado, and I'm kind of wondering if it was the puck and not the ice. Although I can't imagine
a combination, right?
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't think the puck. You wouldn't think the lack of finishing treatments done on the puck would have caused it to be a visual thing. We could see how bad it was, right? I mean, it's not. I don't know. It has to be like a feel thing for the players, right? How it feels on the stick, as opposed to how it looks on TV.
It seemed like it was bouncing quite a bit, and then the one goal that was completely was it the first goal where the puck just kind of died going back behind the net and wound up with a
first Blues goal.
No, in the blowout.
Okay.
The blowout game. I want to say the puck was going behind the net. Parayko and Krug are out there, and the Krug thought the puck was going to come through to him, and then all of a sudden it winds up on McKinnon's stick with Landeskog
in front.
Yeah,
that was the third goal, I believe.
Was that?
I could be wrong, but it was Landeskog's second. I remember that. That was his second goal.
Well, his second goal was on the side of the net where he tucked it in underneath Binnington. This is the first one where he's wide open in the slot. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. I was thinking the wrong one. You're right. That was the first goal tonight. You're right. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the one where he tucked it in.
No. My color commentary is that far off that I'm throwing you off.
I just don't understand hockey. That's my issue.
I
think we all know if you've ever seen me play. No, I will say I didn't notice so much in the second game as much as we want to joke about it. But the first game, there was a couple weird bounces off the glass that I noticed. And last night, I remember there was one spot in particular, and it was the first thing I thought of when I saw this announcement today, where somebody, I think one of the Blues, rimmed it around the boards, and it literally just, it popped right out in a weird angle. And Dubnyk was like, what the hell? Luckily for the Sharks, there was no Blues players around. I think they were making a line change. But we see that every now and then. But the weird bounce it took, it was something that you normally don't see at Enterprise Center. And so it made me wonder. I'm like, I wonder if it was something with these tracking pucks that caused that.
The Carolina Hurricanes have 5 players test positive for COVID, so tonight's game between the Hurricanes and the Predators has been postponed. So I guess the Dallas and Carolina now, and this is going to be a fairly common thing, you would think, with teams. It's going to happen to every team. It's got to.
Yep.
Right? I don't think it's going to be something we can avoid.
Well, I was going to ask you, Curt, you might know, did COVID affect every team in the MLB at some point this past season, or was it just a damn near close to every team?
I would say I would
say almost every team at least had a couple games rescheduled because the other team had it or something.
I don't know if it affected every team, but it would not surprise me in the least if it did affect every team. I know it affected a lot of teams.
Yeah.
So
I think I agree 100%. That's just, they built it into the schedule. They've got extra time built in for rescheduled games. It's just, this is something we'll probably mention every week, if not every week, every other week. So it's not shocking. Hopefully everybody comes back healthy and there's nobody complaining, well, our team was terrible because everyone had COVID. So hopefully we don't have to hear that.
I'm telling you, you better be prepared because when I yank it out, everybody in that audience, with the exception of my wife, is going to be running for the exits.
Not only is Manscaped the hands-down industry leader in men's below-the-waist grooming, but they have some big news. Manscaped has just released their new cologne scent. to help you feel good and smell good all over and at all times. Who knew smelling this good could feel this good too? Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Join the movement for all your below-the-waist grooming needs. Get 20% off and free shipping with promo code LGB at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code LGB. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped.
I'm telling you, you better be prepared because when I yank it out,
Did it again. Everyone knows Manscaped has the perfect package 3.0 for all of your below-the-waist grooming needs, but they didn't stop there. No, they did not. Complete your grooming game with the new refined cologne signature scent by Manscaped. I actually got a compliment on the cologne by Manscaped the other day.
Oh,
I did.
You hit on, son?
Yeah, by a lady.
Oh, look at you, man!
Yeah.
First time a lady's ever talked to you, huh?
Yeah, and I was nervous. Oh, I didn't know what to say. But the cologne, thankfully, did the talking for me.
What do I do with my hands?
Right. Where do these go? Here, I'll give them to you, and you put them where you want them to go.
There's your new pickup line, folks. There you go.
Yeah. What are you doing with your hands? I don't know. You tell me.
No, I've similar. Well, my mom smelled it on me and gave me a compliment. Said that smells really nice, and I was like, so your story was better, but no, it's a great scent.
And you can, like the promo said, you get 20% off plus free shipping with the code LGB at manscaped.com. So it's time to feel sexy.
Okay, so we've got. I'm sorry, are we
I think Bill froze
closing
again.
up on Manscaped?
Yeah, I think Bill froze again.
Poor Bill. AC Generator, who has been in the YouTube chat before, he's already won our comment of the show, folks. Dallas, Columbus, Carolina, they should have had Pfizer sponsor the Central.
Oh, nice.
I like it. I like it a lot.
And I think, Bill's back.
Oh, hey, Bill.
I can see him moving, but I don't think he can hear us.
No, he's typing to us. The joys of a live show.
Yeah. Well, live show with remote technology. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
So the two games in Colorado, the season opener, impressive 4-1 win. We did a pregame show before this show, and Jeff broke the news to us that Hoffman would not be playing because of visa issues. So the Blues fairly dominant, first and third periods. Colorado had a nice pushback in the second, took it to the Blues, couldn't score though. After Colorado scored early in the first period, the Blues scored 4 unanswered and 2 in the second. 2 in the second and 2 in the third. I got 2 in the first. It was 2 in the second, right? Yeah. No, 2 in the first. Sorry. 2 in the first and 2 in the first. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Sundqvist scored twice. Kyrou, Clifford also scored. Bennington stopped 26-27, looked strong. And JR posted this on Twitter and said at one point in the third period, the Blues held the puck in the Av zone for 1 minute and 40 straight and had 31 touches by Blues players before the Avs could touch it. So it switched hands 31 times for the Blues, and before the Avs touched it. That's amazing.
That is
so
amazing.
every player on the ice for the Blues touched it 6 times.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Before the Avs could even touch the puck. That was nuts.
I go entire periods without touching the puck. So that's impressive. Granted, I'm only allowed to play one shift a game because nobody trusts me. But no, that's they were dominant. I mean, this game was, we're gonna break down the second and third game of the season a little bit more than this one, but what can't be said about how they played. They were just all over the ice. Even in the second, when Colorado had a pushback, it was Jordan Binnington coming up huge, having some great saves, and defense looking great. Colorado did not look like a Stanley Cup favorite. And I give more credit to the Blues on their play than take away from Colorado. I think the Blues just outworked them, outbeat them. And it was a very nice performance for the first game of the season.
Sammy Blais was suspended 2 games for his hit on Devin Toews in this game. So thoughts on the suspension? Social media kind of exploded. And, a lot of it, you always wonder when a team gets hit with a suspension by the league, the team's fans cry outrage, right? And there's somewhat of a different opinion amongst other fans. Usually, it's just the way it goes, homerism. But your thoughts on the suspension in the most unhomeristic, unbiased way that you can present it possible. What would you say?
Maybe I'm just a purist. I looked at that play, and at first I didn't even like the penalty because I thought it was completely coincidental. You saw Blais' reaction after the hit. I think he thought, "Oh shit, I did not mean to do that," and it was just a. But then again, I look back and I say, okay, they're cracking down on head shots. Yes, okay, penalty's fine. Watching the replay, I said, okay, give him a penalty. And I even said, I go, God, they're going to suspend him. And it's going to piss me off because it wasn't intentional to me. It was clear that was not an intentional play. And for those saying that Sammy Blais is a repeat offender, he's not. By NHL standards, he is not a repeat offender. So this was just a head-scratching suspension to me. I thought, Curt, you broke it down pretty good, actually, in our chat that we had. I'll let you take the ball here. You had some good thoughts on it.
Well, my take is this: is that so Toews is coming from one side of the goal, around behind the net, and Blais is coming from the other side, and Toews looks up and sees Blais when they're like 6-7 feet apart, 8 feet apart, from when they're both sides of the goal, going behind the net. So he sees him coming. He knows that Blais is going to come either and get hit or it's going to be a whatever. And what does Toews do right before impact? He puts his head down and does not brace for any kind of contact whatsoever, and reaches for the puck. And Blais reaches for the puck too. They both touch the puck at the exact same time as the puck's on the boards. I had people on social media say that Toews shot the puck on the boards and Blais hit him. That wasn't the case at all. No. They both, and I got a freeze frame of the play, and it's a fraction of it's like a couple inches before Blais makes contact with Toews, and both of their sticks are on the puck as the puck's against the boards. They got there at the same time. And then Blais' shoulder makes contact with Toews' head, and it was head was the principal point of contact. There's no getting around that. That's what it was. But looking at this rationally, what is Blais supposed to do? Where's he supposed to go? There's not a lot of room behind the net. Some people are saying, well, he's got to avoid contact. How is he going to avoid contact? He almost tried to. He braced for contact. He didn't lay into him. He braced for contact, so he didn't get laid out, or clotheslined or whatever. He did. If he wanted to destroy Toews, he could have killed him, because Toews puts his head down and reaches out for the puck and puts himself in an extremely vulnerable position. I don't. Just because the head was the principal point of contact, okay, I guess they're probably going to give him a game for that. I didn't like it just because of the situation led up to it. Toews saw Blais coming. It's not like Blais blindsided him. It's not like it was hit from behind against the boards where he didn't see him coming. He knew he was there. He was and to give him 2 games, it's like 2 games is almost like a statement saying that Blais, it was intentional. And that's, to me, that I don't see that at all, especially with some of the stuff that was let go recently. The one on Bertuzzo in the next game, and there was another play. I forgot the team involved in the player. Worse at center ice that wasn't even reviewed. So
Dowd, right?
Dowd, yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
So Bill's back. if Bill's Bill's trying
I'm-
to sidestep his internet issues.
Bill, I'll give you a little rundown on what we've already said. I didn't like it. Curt didn't like it, and he kind of went over what he said to us earlier late last week, I guess. So, anything you want to add to the Blaze suspension?
Oh, I loved it. Oh no, that's not
Let's have a Donnybrook.
yeah, no, absolute horseshit is the only way that I can put it. Especially, with the lack of any review on Nichushkin for hitting Bortuzzo. I know we've talked before about how the standard shouldn't be suspended the injury, but the hit on Bortuzzo was the kind of hit that they don't want in the league anymore. I thought the Blay hit was much more incidental, whereas Nichushkin drove Bortuzzo into the boards. Just absolutely should have at least had a hearing, and the only thing we got was Jim Thomas tweeting out, "League's not going to review it."
Yeah, no, yeah.
Right. And I do, one of the few Twitter alerts that I actually have set up is when the DPOS tweets, and they should probably come up with a new name for it because it's just the Department of Shit.
Yeah, it's bad. I
Like
agree, and I
piece of shit.
Yeah, I agree with Bill. I'll just add that with the Bortuzzo hit in the next game, it's funny because I looked at that one, and I at the time when I know Darren Pang kind of jumped all over that, and well, I'll get to a comment on something Bill just said in a second, but I actually didn't hate that one either, just because I don't think I know he came up on Bortuzzo, but I feel like again that he was coming for his shoulder and just kind of went a little too high and missed.
See, that's different though.
I will say, having said that was a worse hit than Sammy Blay. Nichushkin is the one, if you look at the two hits, that's the one that breaks the rules more than Sammy Blay's hit, because Blay was unintentional. Taves' head was down. Everything Nichushkin did on that hit was completely illegal. Again, not something that I enjoy admitting, but I personally would have been fine with them just washing away both hits, no suspension for either player, and I don't think we'd even be talking about it, to be honest.
Well, Taves left the game for concussion protocol, was deemed to be fine, no effects, so they let him. Then he returned to the game. Bortuzzo is now out with a concussion. So, the league likes to take, after the fact stuff into account. Nothing was. I mean, that didn't apply in either case. So it's so backwards. Those two plays, I think, but it's not surprising in the least, because this happens every month or so in the NHL. There's a controversial hit, and the Department of Player Safety comes down with a ruling that 85% of the fans are like, "What the fuck was that?" It's like, right. It doesn't make any sense half the time.
Right, and all of the comments on both the Blaze suspension video and the one from the Pittsburgh game were, the wheel of justice is back, and that's the thing. I know a little bit about having a disciplinary program, that in the workplace, and the only way you ever have credence is if you are consistent, and that's the one thing the NHL just cannot do. There isn't, there should be, if they're going to publicly review any hits, that result in in injury, they need to do it for all of them, right? You can't just pick and choose and say, through a media mouthpiece, oh, we're not going to take a look at that. Otherwise, you come off as a clown organization with the wheel of justice.
I'm willing to admit, and I think it's pretty obvious, that it's really hard to be accurately consistent, right, with some of these hits, because so much is left up to interpretation as far as what happens and on the play, and I can understand the coming down to inches this way, inches that way, what's intentional, what isn't, what part of the body hit part of the body first if it's close. I get that it's hard to be precisely consistent, but it just seems like they're just so wildly inconsistent. They're not even close. Not even close to being consistent.
And the every play is going to be different, and every play is going to be viewed subjectively. But that's not what's inconsistent. What's inconsistent is the application. Every controversial hit needs to be given the same review process, including the public end of it. I'm sure they have meetings all the time, and they're only going to bring to the forefront plays that are have been penalized in a game, or they've got to have some kind of standard. But what they really should do, if they want to get away from this idea of the wheel of justice, is review every play, put it out there publicly. Otherwise, it looks like you're an undermanned organization that is cherry picking and only going for certain hits, certain teams, and of course, we as Blues fans feel hard done by. And
yeah, I'm not going to go down the conspiracy theory bias against teams. I've never bought into any of that nonsense with referees or Department of Player Safety. I've never bought into that whatsoever. It's absurd to me. But I get exactly what you're saying with that. St. Louis did get the second best ratings for all three opening night games on NBCSN. Pittsburgh was number 1, St. Louis number 2, and Tampa Bay number 3. So, and I think I commented on JR's tweet for this online. It was par for the course. St. Louis has always done very well in TV ratings, and there's just another example of that. So,
but according to Canada, St. Louis and Tampa, we're in the Sun Belt. We don't care about hockey.
So which games was this for? Because
the triple header, NBCSN triple header.
Yeah. And that makes a ton of sense.
Sure. Because
I'm sure the Blues ratings in the next 2 games haven't been that great because nobody in the local market can watch them.
That's a good point, because people are getting their games in while they can, right? Yeah, but it was all 3 games. It wasn't just the Blues, so it was that was the Blues and was in one of the 3. But across all 3 games, St. Louis did finish second, so that was good to see. Game number 2 against the Avalanche. Hoffman's visa issues were fixed. His first game as a Blue, 8-0 loss. As good as the Blues played in the first game, Binnington was pulled after the second. Husso makes his NHL debut. O'Reilly.
Real quick, I'm sorry. While you're on goaltending, I do want to talk real quick, because obviously I think that's you look at an 8-0 score and you say the goalies and the defense were awful. Well, the defense was. Bill mentioned the first goal by Landeskog, all alone in the slot, nobody even close. We'll get into the penalty kill issues, but the penalty kill, awful. I actually watched the condensed game on NHL TV after the game, because I zoned out after it was 4-0. And Binnington had some great fucking saves, especially in the first period.
The first period, he was really good.
He was unbelievable. And you just kept thinking, because you think back to the game 7 of Boston. That's always going to be the game we talk about. But you see the big saves from Binnington, and then the Blues just carry it down and score. Binnington has 10 saves, Blues have 2 shots on net and 1 goes in. That's what you think's going to happen when you see that type of play out of your goaltender. But the Blues they did not have it that night. If you want to talk about, and maybe Bill, maybe you can speak to this a little more in terms of the 4 goals that Binnington gave up in the first 2 periods. The only one that I would really say maybe he could have had was the one that I mentioned earlier, Landeskog's second, where he was on the side of the net. He tucked it in. Binnington probably could have been a little stronger on the post there, But other than that, and even that one is I would say still a skilled, smart goal by Landeskog to put it where he did. But outside of that, I thought Bennington still had an unbelievably great night and really kept giving Blues fans hope that his great play is going to lead to some offense.
Yeah, no, agree with that completely. I mean, the first goal of this game wasn't scored until 3+ minutes into the second period. Bennington really played very well in the first period. And I agree, he should have had the pad sealed on the Landeskog second goal. Should have got that down to the ice quicker and sealed it. But, apart from that, I thought, it was him not coming out for the third period was, Berube identifying that, it's a throwaway game at this point. Give Husso a chance to get in there, throw him to the wolves a little bit, but don't totally destroy Bennington's confidence. I didn't have a whole lot of hope that the Blues were going to magically get better in front of Husso. And, I again wouldn't fault him for most of the goals that were scored. Maybe a softie here or there, but the defense was just god-awful.
I felt bad for Husso. I really did.
Me too.
O'Reilly on the loss said we embarrassed ourselves tonight. That was very disappointing. The thing is, we came into the game and you could tell we just didn't have the detail in. The little things steamrolled into big things. I thought Benner played outstanding the time he was in the nets. He made some huge ones. He was our best player tonight by far. It's embarrassing that we did what we did in front of him. We have to find a way to shut it down and find something, and we didn't. We let him out to dry. We let Husso out to dry, which I agree with completely. Worst performance in franchise history. I said this seriously, though. I said that seriously. I mean, I'm not, as far as what I can remember, my lifetime, from watching Blues hockey, 35, 6, whatever it is years. I cannot recall a start to finish worse game played by the Blues. I may have seen 2 good shifts in this game.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot. I mean, it was
terrible.
Such a night and day difference from the 2 nights before. All I wanted to add to O'Reilly's comments, in my circles at least, I've been hearing that, I don't know if you guys have heard this, apparently he chewed the team out in the locker room.
Good.
After the game.
Good.
Apparently he went off on the team. So if you're wondering what kind of Captain O'Reilly is, if there's any truth to that, he's a very passionate guy because, yeah, that was ugly. And if he did chew them out, they deserved it.
5 power play goals. Go, Bill.
I was just going to say, the last point on O'Reilly, his quotes to the media, you have to imagine that he sounded more like Mark Forward and Letterkenny. Fucking embarrassing, boys. Imagine there was a trash can kicked, and I hope that's true.
Me too.
He can't just be a lead by example captain. I mean, he would be the best lead by example captain.
Yeah,
but you can't just be that. You have to be vocal. You have to call people out when they're shit.
Yeah, after a game like that, you have to. 5 power play goals against. No power play goals for again. Massive contrast first 2 games. And again, we talked about the
worst performance in franchise history is your question. Since I saw you bring that question up earlier with us, I can't think. I mean, I can think of more demoralizing losses, obviously, but in terms of performance in a 60-minute span, it's hard to argue. I mean, 5 power play goals against. How many penalties did they have?
7, I think.
I mean,
that's 8. I think they had 8.
You think back to the last place team in 05-06, and was there a game that was worse than that? Probably not.
I mean, if you can give me a worse regular season or playoff game. I mean, yeah, like you said, there's been more demoralizing ones, like heartbreaking losses. Sure, absolutely. With the St. Louis Blues. I mean, Blues fans know about heartbreak. But as far as just like worst performance start to finish, this is it. For me, this is it. So
Yeah, I can't remember the final score, but I do recall a game. It in the I want to say it was 14-15 season where they were on a nice little hot streak and went to Columbus and I think got trounced like 7-2 or something. That may be close. But for a team with the expectations that the Blues have, especially after coming out and really shutting down the Avalanche in the first game, that the odds-on Stanley Cup favorite, as everybody on NBCSN let us know, it really was a terrible letdown game. And if not for Jordan Binnington in the first period, that's a double-digit score.
We've got AJ Strong from Teal Town USA that'll be with us to discuss the Blues and Sharks after the break.
Are you living your best life? Although I can't say I'm definitely living mine as well as I could. I was put on the right path by ID Life, the world's only personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment. ID Life understands that no two people are the same. That's why ID Life uses original products that help you reach your goals, whether it be for weight loss, skincare, energy, or anything else. All products are non-GMO, gluten, and soy-free, and don't include artificial sweeteners. And through January, try the Burn Box, which will save you some money this month on various products. Becoming a VIP member and ordering a Burn Box provides you with an additional 20% off as well, and this price will be locked in through 2021 if you sign up now. VIPs save 15 to 20% off every order and include many other benefits. Check out rockinthatidlife.com and speak with my friend Dustin about how ID Life can guide you through your life advancement journey. That's rockinthatidlife.com and tell them Let's Go Blues Radio sent you.
We're back when welcome AJ Strong from Teal Town USA to the show. Good friend of the show, AJ Strong. How you doing, AJ?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
We are doing better after last night compared to game 2, I guess. But you probably aren't feeling as good as we are right now, personally. But before we get started, we talked about it earlier, and it was before you had joined in backstage. But AJ Strong, that's got to be like a stage name, right? I mean, that's too cool of a name to be like real, right?
Nope, born with it, sirs.
All right,
Fantastic.
Yeah. Kudos to your parents.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, right.
AJ, I got a question for you. You trying to pull a Rob Lowe there when he was wearing the NFL hat and everybody made fun of him? You're wearing just an NHL hat there. Look at that.
What? I got my Sharks hoodie on.
I got his Sharks hoodie on too, but I've never actually seen somebody just wear an NHL hat. That's interesting.
I had a white. He's got the black. I had as a kid. I had a white one, a white NHL hat.
No, they got these at the Sharks team shop. So
Actually,
I caught that and I was like, hey, see, there you go.
Okay, that is slick.
And
that
mine's old
nice
school. Mine's the old logo too, so it's old. But
Yeah.
And this is actually signed by a ton of Blues from probably 94 or 5. So.
And I gotta say,
if it was signed by a bunch of officials, but okay.
That'd have been cooler.
That would have been interesting.
Andy Van
I
Hellemond.
will say, Adam Gold has a great response in the Facebook chat. Worst regular season game was Brett Hall jersey retirement night, December 5th, 2006. I'm actually going to pull up that box score real quick.
That was like 6-0, wasn't it?
It was an ugly game. I remember that.
It was bad. That was a terrible game.
I was at that game.
That was a very bad game.
My dad got great tickets for us. We sat real 5-1 was the final.
5-1. As bad as that game was, not 8-0.
Yeah, Henrik Zetterberg with a power play goal 2 minutes in, then Datsuk scored right after. Looks like the Blues added a late third period goal to beat the shutout. Eric Brewer with his first of the season.
See, all those Brewer teams. Shorthanded,
Yep.
Shorthanded from the get-go.
I remember a game in 92, 93, somewhere in there. Theo Fleury had like 8 points and a 9-2 win over the Sharks. That was pretty demoralizing. But every team gets them. I remember being at a game. I think the Sharks were. I want to say it was the Hurricanes, and with about 5 minutes left in the game, you had Sharks fans screaming, "We want 10," because we were up, I think 9-3 in that game. You post them, and then sometimes you get roasted. So it happens.
So talk to us about not having hockey for 10 months. Was it about 10 months that the Sharks were off, more or less?
Oh yeah.
After
Yeah.
So that's got to be something that that's a new thing.
A new thing. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't mind the break. I mean, I would have liked to have seen playoff hockey, of course, with the Sharks being involved in it. But if it's your average fan, you're probably going, "Oh my God, yeah, I need some hockey." When you're part of a group that does podcasting and everything like that, and you've got a lot of stuff as a passion project, you kind of go, "Hey, you know what? It'd be nice to have a month or two off that you just kind of breathe."
That's because Jeff takes the reins over the summer and does a lot of interviews and stuff like that with the show, and Bill and I typically take summer off, which I'm not gonna lie, I like it.
It's
Agreed.
for me. It's a different type of show, so it still is like a kind of a break from what we normally do. So it's just my ability to like transition and do something different that makes it worthwhile. But yeah, if I was still like, I'm going to do a live show every week without Curt and Bill, like I would absolutely hate my life.
So what's the situation with the Santa Clara County and the ban on contact sports as far as the Sharks are concerned? Is no word yet, or what?
Not really. I mean, the last I've looked, like primarily the Northern California counties, they've kind of set this glass ceiling, if you will, that it's like once ICU bed capacity reaches 15%, they just kind of switch the button and everything goes on lockdown. And well, not necessarily lockdown, but say a month and a half ago, you could go out to a local store, whatever, a drugstore, whoever, and everybody, for the most part, you keep your distance and whatnot, but there wasn't anybody outside like saying, okay, like a bouncer with a clicker going, okay, this many people allowed, we're at capacity. You didn't have any of that. But over the last couple of weeks, I'm seeing that in certain places where they're limiting the amount of people that can come in. I got to tell you, the Sharks so far, I've been on media calls for the last 3 or 4 days. Sharks have no word right now as to whether those games starting at the beginning of February, because, the Sharks it's 8 consecutive games on the road. They're supposed to start the beginning of February. And right now there's been no word. And as far as I know, there are no options for them in Northern California. They're not going to play at the Oakland Coliseum where the Warriors used to play. Chase Center where the Warriors currently play, not an option. Nobody wants the Cow Palace again. So, but the weird thing is that why is it the LA Kings can host games in SoCal, but the Sharks can't? I don't know.
Different local restrictions, I guess, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But remains to be seen. Who knows if they end up back in Arizona hosting games, or God help us, Vegas.
I want to get your opinion on that. If let's say they're hosting games in Arizona, obviously, I know they probably pump in the Shark music and all that, but obviously the rink's different. It's a different. Do you think it really takes away from a home atmosphere for the Sharks if they're not in their actual home rink?
I would hope it wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, maybe the boards are going to play a little differently than they're used to, but again, how used to it can you be when you haven't played there in 10 months? If anything, I guess you got to trade out the advertising on the boards for the so you have
Right. Sharks
Sharks advertisers there, but other than that, I mean,
Get the logo at center too. Probably not going to switch.
we can't on what is it? They can't superimpose it onto. I mean, if they can do it on the glass behind the nets, you think they can figure out a way to do it on the ice?
I imagine it'd be something like the first down marker in football, where your players go over it and it works, but it's not. How's it going to work with? I know that the reason why they use the colors they do is because no other colors appear in the uniforms and things on the lines on the field that they do that with. So if a player goes over the line, they know the player goes over the line, and there's no confusion with color. But if you got a logo at center ice with 3 or 4 colors in it, and yeah, I don't know, that'd be interesting.
Well, and then not to mention that this year is the Sharks' 30th, so there's supposed to be a special logo.
Right. You know what? I mean, we're still what is it? A couple weeks away? 12 days away from the supposed to be home opener, right? Is it February 1st or February?
Monday, February 1st. Interestingly enough, against the Golden Knights. I mean, I don't know if there's any events scheduled in Vegas at that time, but maybe they flip them and say, okay, you know what? Right now we still can't play in San Jose, so we're going to play these in Vegas.
That would make sense to me. Just have it in their building. I mean, you take the fans out of the equation, it's not ridiculous. So
I was going to say, I can't imagine that T-Mobile has events booked.
It's true.
I think they're having my haircut booked there. They're going to open it up to the audience, let people see me cut my hair. It's going to be really interesting.
There you go.
Pay-per-view.
I'm paying people to come, actually.
That's what I meant by pay-per-view. You pay them, they show up.
Nice.
Gunnarsson, well, as far as the Blues and Sharks are concerned, the game last night, Gunnarsson was in for Bertuzzo, who was out with a concussion, which we just talked about. And the first period, I think this game for the Blues, as far as the Blues are concerned, I was very interested to see how they were going to come out in this game after how they played against Colorado last game, getting the 8-0 shellacking. And Blues won this one 5-4 in a back and forth seesaw game that had some interesting plays, interesting goals. I thought, and you can rebuke this if you want there, AJ, but I was going to say that I think the Blues outplayed San Jose in the first period, 13-8 shots on goal. I thought Dubnyk was fantastic, especially in the first period in this game. I thought, and Jeff and I had a back and forth on Twitter earlier today about his play later. But I thought San Jose up 2-0, opportunistic in their chances. LeBlanc scoring the first goal on a deflection from the point by Burns, Benjamin screened, and I don't know your take on the Sharks in the first period as far as how they played.
All right, before AJ answers, I want to add that Arizona and San Jose played before this, and they split. So the two teams came in with the same record coming into this game. But yes, AJ, your thoughts.
Well, I was going to say that second game against Arizona, the Sharks were a little embarrassed as well, and very well should have been. So I was definitely interested to see how this game was going to shake out. Look, if hockey games were only 20 minutes long, the Sharks would look great. But the fact of the matter is that they are just getting destroyed in the second period. Like you said, first period, you get Dubnyk in there. Now, remember, Jones got yanked in the game, the second one against Arizona, with about 13 minutes left. When you look at that, it seemed like a kind of an odd time to pull him because you were only down by a couple. Maybe you're doing that to send a message, but I don't know. It came off a little bit as waving the white flag in that result. So either way, you get Dubnyk, and yeah, I thought he looked solid in that first 20. But like I said, the Sharks have been solid in the first 20. Their goals for 6, goals against 2. First period is great. Second period, goals for 1, goals against 7.
Yeah.
So yeah, the second period has not been fun for San Jose.
As a Blues fan and somebody who's covered this team, well, back when Dubnyk was on the Wild, I covered them in the playoffs actually with the media, and Dubnyk was just a Blues killer at that point in his career, and it was one of those moments. Now, obviously, the Blues have played pretty well against him lately on the Wild teams as of late, but that game, when you're watching that first period, Curt mentioned the great play and 13 shots on Devan Dubnyk. Blues fans are sitting there thinking, I know my wife said the same thing. She just, oh my God, he's going to do it again. The Blues are going to get 50 shots on goal and he's going to shut them out. And it's just, I think the Blues are going to wear him down. But yes, that was the thought after the first period. Because like Curt said, this was very much a Blues dominated period. And the Sharks capitalized. They took the opportunities. Obviously, the Blues penalty kill is just horse shit right now. I mean, he literally put horse shit in the middle of the rink And it's probably better than the Blues penalty kill, because then maybe
It's-
they'll step on it and they'll fall and
What-
lose the puck.
What's a good penalty kill percentage to you, Jeff? What would you like your team to have as a PK percentage?
I mean, anything above 90, right?
It's good, right? Blues are at 40 right now.
No, I said it last night on Twitter during the game. I said, whatever the Blues penalty kill is now, it's the exact opposite of what the Sharks were last season, where it was the only thing the Sharks did right. The number one penalty kill. They couldn't do anything else, but for some reason it all came together on the penalty kill.
Well, right now we're last in the PK and last on the power play.
Small sample size. 3
I know. I get it. But still.
The worrying part, I was going to say, the worrying part is the penalty kill. Power play, it takes time to come together.
I agree.
Hopefully the loss of Bortuzzo is, an exacerbating factor here. He's a great shot blocking defenseman, and not having him out there definitely hurts. The one power play goal by Burns, I thought Faulk and Scandella had absolutely no chemistry, and both collapsed to the corner, and Burns was left alone out front. Just absolutely disgusting.
That was terrible.
That's the one thing they've got to fix. The power play will come around eventually. We're used to real slow starts on the power play here. So
anytime you're playing defense, and I'm sure Jeff can attend to this. Jeff, if you're playing defense and you go into a corner and you look to your right and you see your defensive partner in the corner with you, you're like, uh-oh, this is wrong. Yep. This is bad.
Yep. I remember in a championship game once, we were tied 1-1, and it was late in the third period, and I was battling with a guy in the corner, and I hear my defensive partner yelling, to the right, and I look up, and he is right there. And I'm just, dude, get the hell out of here. What are you doing? I'm going to freeze it. And he's like, what? And I look, I'm like, go to the net. And there was 2 guys standing in front of the net. I'm like, what are you doing? So yeah, that is not something you want to see as a defenseman. So yes, it's bad. And the something, separate. You gotta
you shift back and forth.
Yep. But no, I was just gonna add real quick too that Darren Payne brought this up the other night, and I actually had said this earlier too to my wife earlier in the game. I didn't really think about how, without Bortuzzo in the lineup, without Pietrangelo, without Steen, those are your top penalty killers from last season. So it's going to take some adjustment from the Blues using new guys on the PK, on their top PK. So I'm okay. Again, small sample size, like AJ said. I'm not too concerned. It literally can only get better from here, unless they're giving up a goal every single power or penalty. But they're going to get better. It's going to get better. You just have to hope that it gets a lot better, because it has been abysmal to start.
The Blues trailed 2-0 after the first period. San Jose's other goal in the first came on the power play. Not surprising. Gaping net for Couture after a nice cross-ice pass. I thought this was a beautiful play. I guess when you look back on the replay and look for someone to blame, like after every goal you do for your team, I guess you could look at Sanford and Gunnarsson on this. Sanford lost hurdle as he cut down the middle. It was caught watching the play a little bit. And maybe Gunnarsson was a little too deep on top of Bennington when the pass came across. But other than that, I mean, I thought this was a when I saw this play, I'm like, oh my God. Just before I even shot it, I'm like, give him the goal. That's like, oh my God.
Well, the Sharks,
fantastic setup.
The Sharks have kind of changed up their power play this season. Now that Bugner has the interim tag off, I guess he feels a little more comfortable installing this style. You also take into account too that the whole thing is heavier attack, more speed. They bring in somebody like Matt Nieto to obviously has the feet. I don't know that he has the finish, but either way, they've kind of changed it up, and they're playing this kind of 1-3-1, but they want to get at least 2 forwards below the dots. And they want to kind of, get that cross eye or that puck moving east-west, and to, get the goalie moving. It used to, it seemed like forever. It was kind of like All right, rim it around up to the point, whether it's Burns or somebody else. Okay, the big slapper, and if you're lucky, you get a rebound, you try to follow it up, and if you don't, boom, one and done, you're going the other way. So it appears that Bugner is trying to really push this possession, attack, and get lateral movement.
Is Kevin LeBlanc, is he, I don't want to say the future of the offense, but that guy he's really impressed me. Like, not a guy that's going to put up 80 points, 90 points, but a guy that really seems to come up big when you need him to. I remember he had a big game in Game 6 of the 19 playoffs. And then a couple games last season, the Blues saw him. I know he played well. Is he a guy you think that's in the long-term plans for the Sharks? Because he's a guy that's really impressed me.
I would hope he's in the long-term plans for the Sharks. And I don't mean to correct you on your own show, but it's LeBanc. Just around here, it's every time he scores, we've made a deposit because he's the banker.
Jeff's a big Friends fan. He's a big Matt LeBlanc fan.
No, I get you.
Yeah.
You know what?
When I heard about my life, Matt LeBlanc's actually going to play me, so that's why.
But it's weird. You know, Kevin LeBlanc took a huge salary cut last season, signed a 1-year deal only for $1 million. I'm sure he had you don't take that deal unless you've got kind of a nod and a wink from the GM saying, I'm going to take care of you next year. And so now it's 4 years, 4.7. And he had an awful season last year. Horrendous. Yeah. There are a lot of people surprised that he got this deal. Now, that said, the Sharks, you kind of do have to look to him to be your future, because a couple of years ago, you decimated your right side. You let go of Joe Pavelski. You let go of Gustav Nyquist. You let go of Jonas Donskoy. That was your entire right side. And all you ended up with is LeBlanc. And then when we were talking about special teams a minute ago with the penalty kill, you let go of Barclay Goodrow, huge, penalty killer. He goes to Tampa, wins the cup. And then this offseason, you don't re-sign Melker Karlsson, which was another huge penalty killer. I think that's one of the reasons why they got Matt Nieto in from Colorado, is because he's a solid PKer. You're hoping Marcus Sorensen's going to be able to take up that slack. But Kevin LeBlanc right now, I think he's going to be part of what you do going forward, but I think it speaks more to the lack of depth on that right side.
Yeah. I thought he had a great game the other night. And I want to add a comment here from our YouTube chat. Slapshot Matt, which I don't believe we've had him before. I think we have a new live listener. Dubnik and Couture gave San Jose every chance they had the other night. And again, Couture, Curt, let me ask you, Blues killer?
Oh,
he comes off as a Blues killer to me.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, the playoffs alone last year.
Dude, 18 goals in 13 games against the Blues.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
That's what Jerome McGinley used to put up against the Blues.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah, he's always impressive, but no, that's apparently we've lost Bill for the night.
Yeah, he's having some bad internet issues right now.
Tapped out, did he?
Yep. I think he's been frustrated. He's been frustrated all night with it. He's probably had to reconnect about 8 times.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
That's
all right. We love you, Bill. We love you, buddy. But we got AJ holding down the fort here for you. So you're gonna take the blunt of Jimmy Anderson's messages on YouTube, AJ, because he usually goes after Bill. I think he's gonna go after. But no, I was gonna say, Curt, I think you mentioned the second goal, the hurdle goal. Again, you said go ahead and give him that goal. That's a great goal. But how the passes across the crease in the Blues PK, I mean, not even just the crease, center of the ice. I mean, the Blues just seem. I remember a drill that we had to do when I was playing high school hockey was the penalty killers, our top penalty kill line. We would go out against the top power play, and we would have to go out and do a 4-on-3 with no sticks. And that way it teaches you to use your body to try and block the passing lanes. And listen, I am not. That is probably elementary to the Blues. That is probably elementary to Craig Berube. But do what you can to get them to use their bodies and not just their sticks to block those passing lanes. Because my God, that was just. I love the picture. Good job, Curt. Yeah, AJ, you ever notice that Bill resembles our friend? Why am I drawing a blank on the idiot's name? Mike Milbury.
I mean, I didn't want to come right out and say it, but yeah, I see it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
the penalty kill has just been atrocious, and we can't say that enough on this show. But I just feel like do what you can to learn to clog up that middle, because my God, everything's getting through right now.
Yeah, well, and like I said, Gunnarsson on that particular play, when you break it down and you try and find someone to blame for that goal, as nice a setup as play as it was, you're like, gosh, how could we have prevented this goal? And you look at it and you think, well, Gunnarsson's right on top of Bennington. He probably shouldn't have been there because of how the setup was. He could have shaded weak side, stepped out 3 or 4 feet from Bennington, didn't have to be on top of him, and he could have shaded weak side a little bit and taken that pass completely away, had maybe deflected it at least. But that is what it is. I mean, that it's hard to play positionally perfect. And I give the Sharks credit for taking advantage of what the Blues had to give them there. So,
well, let me ask you this: do you think when you know that your PK is just in the crapper, do you think that gets into the team's head a little bit? Maybe they don't play with as much of an edge as they might want to because they're nervous about getting called?
Probably, yes. But you wouldn't know it yet because they're taking a lot of penalties. But yeah, I mean, I that is a concern because you obviously, I mean, if one of the keys of the game is to stay out of the box and you're stressing it because your PK's allowing better than only killing 40% of power plays, it's like then you got that to worry about. So you don't want people to play soft. You don't want people to play tentative. You want them to play aggressive. You want them to play confident, and you can't play aggressive and confident if you're scared. You're taking penalties. It's like when you play a sport and you play not to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. So you can't play that way. You're not going to be very good.
Well, and again, my level of hockey is elementary compared to the guys we talk about on this show, but I know for a fact that back when I was playing high school and we were kind of known as the heavier team, we stopped taking penalties. We stopped playing aggressive because our penalty kill was awful. Every time we had a penalty kill, we'd give up a goal. So it was, the coach even told us, guys, let's just try and skate with these guys. Let's not run them into the boards. And it was just bad because we can't play to our full potential because we know that our penalty kill is going to give up goals. So, and by the way, I was part of that penalty kill proudly. But yeah, it was, it's bad. And that you are not going to be able to play to your maximum abilities if you're afraid of that. So that's why I think, I don't know, Curt, I don't know. I mean, again, what Craig Berube knows is far more than you and I will ever know. But I mean, my solution next game, you put out guys who are normally not penalty killers. They can't do any worse, right?
Well, okay.
Teach your a lesson.
Barbashev has been on for 5 goals, 5 power play goals against in 3 games. So you maybe don't play him for a while. Sanford has been on for 3 against in 3 games. Maybe don't play him for a while on the PK. And you go back and look at these goals, and like, well, were they responsible? Team game and all that stuff. I went back and looked at Sanford's goals because I had a guy on Twitter that basically said, we can't blame Sanford. He wasn't the fault of any of them. Okay, let me go look. I went back and looked. I'm like, you can fault him on every single one of those damn goals. It was just, I'm serious. I mean, he was caught puck watching on one. On the hurdle, on the play where Hurdle sneaks behind him and they get that nice pass across to Couture. I thought that was a play that that the Sharks took advantage of because he wasn't doing his job as well as he probably could have. And there was another play where he backed off way too much. Gave them who was it in Colorado? No, I forgot. But he backed off. They came into the zone, backed off way too much. There were 2 defensemen back with him, and he backs in with the defenseman. Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, huh? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But and it was a goal that beat Bennington, of course, because they backed in so far. So I mean, and there was another one too that he could have made had better decision on. Given guys a free pass, you look at the guys who are not performing in the PK right now, and again, small sample size that we talked about, but still, you change things up a little bit. Take a guy off the PK, make him think about it. Put somebody else in, give him a shot. That maybe they're hungry to get some PK time, and see what happens. I mean, you don't have to be a good player to be a PK guy. You just got to be willing to sacrifice your body and get your body in front of a puck. I
don't know how much we'll get into this later, but I think the Blues could use a shakeup on D, and with Bertuzzo out, they called up McCullough, and I'd like to see him in a game. I say put him on the penalty kill. You tell these veterans, hey, you're not getting it done. We're going to give it to the new guy and see what he does with it. And again, it's just one guy, but I mean, Sanford is a guy that I'm not been impressed with on the PK, and correct me if I'm wrong, he wasn't used much on the PK last year, was he?
I know he wasn't used on the power play much. I don't recall him a lot on the PK either, though.
Yeah, I don't think he was. So I'd say go ahead and take him off, put in somebody. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head. Well, Sonny's already used a lot, but there's somebody else. You can give them a shot, maybe a Schwartz even. Give somebody else a shot on the PK and see what they do. Because again, I feel like it can't get any worse. So just do whatever you can to make a change.
A suggestion on Twitter was to call up De La Rose and put him on the PK. And I was like, and to sit Clifford and to play De La Rose since he would.
You're sitting a guy that you can use in a lot of different situations, 5-on-5, for a guy that you would specifically have out for a penalty kill specialist. I don't know if that's the right move. De La Rose is an NHL player. He's fine, but I don't know. I'd rather have Clifford in the lineup.
You know what? I mean, De La Rose is a 4th line guy at best. If your solution to fix a penalty kill that's at 40% is to bring in a fringe NHLer who is 4th liner at best, I'm not sure that's going to do it for you. But who knows? So anyway, with this game, second period, Faulk and Hoffman score in the second to tie it up. Hoffman's goal was his first as a Blue. A nice Pavelski-like tip. I think you mentioned that on Twitter, Jeff. Did you? I
did.
Yeah. Nice redirection tip past Dubnyk. Your thoughts on Hoffman the first 2 games, Jeff? As far as, I mean,
first of all, I just want to say
former Sharks legend. I might
add. Right. Yeah.
0 games played, but was a member of the Sharks organization.
How many hours? Was it like 2 hours?
About 90 minutes. Yeah.
I want to say, first of all, we've been harping on this show that Justin Faulk is the best, and we love Justin Faulk. So Let's Go Blues Radio was right again, right? Justin Faulk, the greatest player in all of the NHL. Of course, I'm kidding.
Let me say this about Faulk, though.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Can I finish?
I don't know. Can you? You don't go too far. Don't stray too far from the topic because I want to.
No, don't worry. I won't. I was gonna say, we've been saying on the show, what we've actually been saying is we need to see him step his game up this year.
Right.
And we've been saying that we think he will because it's going to be a different mix of defensemen. He's going to be able to play more minutes. He's getting the opportunity. I think after 2 games, I'll have to check the stats to be sure. I think he's leading the team in ice time right now.
He's third. He's third, but only behind Parayko and Krug by like 20 seconds. They're all right there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's right up there, and he has played phenomenal. Again, Sands. I said this on Twitter. Sands game 2 of the season because that was just a joke of every Blues player on the ice, but he's looked phenomenal, and I've been very happy with his play so far. Yes, again, like AJ said before, small sample size, but that's the way that you have to look at the season. I think in a 56 game season, you look at 3 to 5 game increments. How have they improved from those games before? And right now we're seeing the baseline of Justin Faulk, and he has showed up very well this season to start.
Would you say he looks Faulking phenomenal?
Of course.
Falcon A does. Yeah, no, I agree with you. He and I said last season and this off season that he needed to be better, and I thought he would be. We all did. I mean, it's just so funny to. Social media is toxic, and it's just we reference that a lot, but because that's what I mean. Whether you get social media and you hear fans on radio call-in shows, sports open line stuff, that's about the gist you get from as far as like knowing what the public thinks in general, right? So a lot of people were just so down on him, and what sucks about this is that Faulk could have a fantastic season, but man, you had a hard time convincing most of the fan base that he's having a good year until probably 30 or 40 games into the season, at least, because they're so set that he sucks. You know how fans get, they stuck on every fan base is probably like this, where if they have an opinion about a player, boy, you got to move mountains to change that opinion about that player. Especially
with Erik Karlsson, but go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think AJ can relate, because I think that another thing with Faulk is people expect offense from him. So even if he picks up his game defensively, which he has, I think people are still going to say, well, we need offense from this guy. That's why he was brought in. And I relate it to Erik Karlsson, because he was a guy who was brought in for the offense, who was improving, in my opinion, on defense in Ottawa by the time he left. Go ahead, Curt.
I was under the impression that they brought Erik Karlsson in to make hand passes.
No, it's Timo Meier.
That's Timo Meier.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
No,
son of a bitch.
He's there for the post-game press conference.
God, that was so good in my head, too.
Yeah. Well, anyway. But no, I would relate it to Erik Karlsson. I mean, I'm sure you deal with the same stuff hearing from Sharks fans over there in San Jose.
No, it's actually quite the opposite. We brought the guy in to play defense, and all he does is play offense. So, look, it's no secret. I don't care for Erik Karlsson. I don't care for his game. I think the guy's a diva. I can tell you just. Did you guys ever make it over to the practice facility for the Blues back before COVID?
Oh, yeah.
Not recently, but back in the day, yeah, I did.
Yeah, back in the day, right?
Recently, yeah.
All right, so, I'd make it out to practice from time to time, and, there's some area that is designated for player parking, right? And, and you see the nice cars. Everybody's got a nice car and everything like that, but they're all parked in the designated spots, except Erik Karlsson, who has to park in the hashed, the hashed area, which just it's a way to say, I'm too good for a regular parking spot or something. It's just, and that might be piddly shit to most people, and it probably is, but it's one brick inside of this wall that you see. Just the way he contorts himself, the way he shies away from contact in games drives me fucking crazy. He got pyloned by what's it, Kyrou? Is that am I pronouncing Kyrou? Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pyloned by Kyrou on Shen's goal, just caught standing there. He can't. Ever since that groin surgery, maybe even before then, the guy's got a shitty pivot. He got caught gliding and avoiding contact, standing still on Faulk's second. And they're talking about it like, well, Erik Karlsson, he's got this reputation. He plays himself into shape. I'm sorry, when you're the highest paid defenseman in the league and you've had 10 months to keep your ass on a Peloton and you're dragging ass from day one, are you serious with this? And the local media here, one particular beat writer said he talked to a scout, and that scout is saying, he looked average at best, not assertive enough, not taking more control of the game from the back end, not engaged enough, too casual. I mean, this is not what you want from, the leader, the three-headed monster of the $26.5 million defense that is Erik Karlsson, Brent Burns, and Marc-Edouard Vlasic. You don't want, that going through your head. It's mind-numbingly frustrating just to see some of this stuff from Erik Karlsson. And what's funny is I wasn't a fan from day one, and a lot of Sharks fans, like you said, social media, toxic, but he's got a good amount of defenders. And they're going to come out and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, and oh, he led the team in ice time and blah, blah, blah. Well, did you look at his Corsi or his Fenwick lately? Did you look at his plus minus? -6 right now. Lowest rated on the team. That's your most expensive player, and he's last in all the stats. Like, yeah, small sample size, but again, you've had 10 months to get your groin together, stay in shape, come in from day one ready to go. And again, it's, he's slow starter, plays himself into shape. You know what? F you. Get off my team.
I want to add real quick, Kurt, real quick. We got a comment from Puck Guy 14, our friend Puck Guy 14, also part of Teal Town, friend of AJ's, I'm guessing. When you just started on your Karlsson rant, we got a comment from him that says, "Ha, oh boy, here we go."
Oh, he knows. He knows. This is an ongoing. There's somebody else on one of our shows that he's a Karlsson defender supporter, but when I did bring it up today about lowest in a lot of stats, not looking good, coming in slow, and he's like, yeah, I'm even starting to get to my, like, I'm about ready to break my threshold.
So I was going to say you mentioned playing yourself into shape. That sounds like something that players said 40 years ago when they would come in, they would use training camp to get into shape.
Yeah.
And after that was a thing.
After the game, they'd go to a bar and have a few beers and a smoke and go home with a hooker and blow and have a great time.
Yeah, and that was the way things were, and they liked it. But
right?
and all of a sudden you bring in technology and sports medicine and all kinds of nutritionalists, and then oh wow, they got to like prepare before the season starts because everyone's doing this and that, and you lose your job. So unless you get paid a lot of money, I guess, then you have security.
My favorite story that I've heard about anything like that was Bob Plager in his book, Tales from the Blues Bench, that came out about 20 years ago. Curt, I don't know if you read that one, but phenomenal stuff. Tom Wheatley, I think, was the one that actually wrote it, but narrated by Bob Plager. My favorite story was he said that he came in to training camp, and I think it was the first day, and his coach said, by the end of training camp, you've got to lose 30 pounds. You're massive. You are way too big. So he said that every day he would drive around with a sweatsuit on in the middle of a St. Louis summer, which it gets hot here. He would drive around with a sweatsuit on. He would turn up all the windows, put up all the windows, and he would blast the heater. And he didn't eat for like 3 or 4 days. And he would just do that for the entire training camp. And and then he came in his last day, and he came in just underweight. And they were like, "Oh, good job, Bob." And he's just like, "Yeah, I probably could have killed myself, but that's just
amazing
how we did
commitment.
it." Yeah. Like, holy cow, I couldn't even imagine. That's insane. Because you got to think, too, he's working out every day, too. And you're not eating. You're sitting in a heated car in the middle of the summer. That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, just in the game yesterday, I mean, Couture and Burns, 3 points each. EK65, the only guy to go over -2 with a -3. Now, I know plus minus is somewhat of a meaningless stat, but again, it's one thing to kind of serve a way to make your point, if you will.
I remember back in the day when he was on the Senators and the Blues would play him, and he was noticeable. He would carry the play. He'd bring the puck into the zone. He'd wrap around the net, and he'd still be the first guy back. I don't notice that anymore. I was like, every time he had the puck, I never got nervous. I'm just like, oh, here comes Karlsson. Burns still scares me. Couture, obviously, Hurdle. There's a lot of guys in the team that still scare me, but I see 65 coming up the ice, and I'm just like, well, it's probably going to be a turnover.
You know,
I heard a guy on NHL radio. I forget who it was, but NHL radio, and he's talking about Erik Karlsson. He goes, when you see Erik Karlsson on the ice, you should be terrified no matter which team you're rooting for.
Burns scared me when the Sharks pulled their goalie. He had a couple of shots there from not too far out, and he wound up, and I'm like, I like tightened up. I'm like, oh, there it's gonna go in, and no, it didn't. But I was like, yeah, I mean, like you said, Jeff, Burns, yeah, he scares me with his shot. But maybe because Karlsson's doesn't have the booming shot. He's more of a playmaker type guy, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, even in Ottawa, it was okay. He's going to dangle 3 guys and come in and have a good chance on goal. I don't feel that way about him anymore.
Yeah,
you bother him a little bit, he shies away from the play.
Exactly. That's my point. The guy shies away from contact, and this is a point that I made last night on Twitter is 30-year-old Karlsson thinks he can still skate like 26-year-old Karlsson, and he can't. He thinks he still has that speed. His mind hasn't figured that out yet.
Well, I guess in his defense, to a little bit, Kyrou is pretty fast.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe he didn't quite realize. I mean, like they mentioned on TV that the players get scouting reports, and Kyrou is a fairly new player, so he might not have been as familiar with how fast he is or whatever. But might have caught him off guard a little bit. But
yeah, the way Karlsson's hair was floating in the breeze. So I'm sorry. We're still not done talking about this, and then we can talk about tomorrow, but go ahead.
I was going to say that okay. Well, Brent Burns gave San Jose the lead back on the power play. Almost a kind of a bad break as far as, I guess, Blues are concerned, because they was a Gunnarsson, Scandella blocked the centering pass, but it just still kind of slid right nicely for Burns, who was left, all alone.
Yeah,
in front.
And that's my point. Again, I know it's a power play. You're down a man, but you can't leave a guy like Brent Burns. You know who he is on the ice, whether it's by the number on the back or just his fucking hairy face. You know who Brent Burns is. You don't let that guy skate right to the middle with no one on him, despite what's happening. There should have been. Again, I don't know if it's gut or it's Scandella's fault. It was a weird bounce.
That was a play where
Faulk else needs to pick up Burns going right to the net.
Faulk was in the corner, and Scandella went towards the corner to block the pass when Faulk was already on the man. I forgot who passed it, but so Scandella should have stayed more in the goal mouth area, but he floated over and tried to block the pass, and then that left an area that opened for Burns. And I forgot who it was that came behind. It was a guy trying to get back to get Burns, but he was a couple of steps behind, so he just couldn't. So it was bang, bang play. He's too quick to react.
It was,
too.
and I get that every now and then that's just going to happen. But I just, again,
right.
Like with the problems we've seen on the penalty kill.
Right. Just get back to fundamentals.
Yeah, you got to do whatever you can to make sure the guy, again, the guy who can put up a ton of points, you're watching him skating straight to the net. You got to watch that. That can't happen.
And again, with the goal, it was a phenomenal, shot. Under the crossbar.
Great shot.
Yeah.
Great shot.
You give a guy like
we're not taking anything away from San Jose at all with this game. They played great on the power play. It's just the Blues penalty kill is that bad as well. It's both.
Yeah, I think when your penalty kill is 40%, you're going to just start throwing your hands up. Like, wait, come on.
Well, and don't forget, Burns did spend a decent amount of time. Burns spent a decent amount of time at forward with the San Jose Sharks for a while there, so he's used to being able to make those plays in tight.
Sure. Shen ties the game back up with some help from Dubnyk, who this was a goofy series. Great aggressive poke check on Kyrou by Dubnyk, and then puck squirts out to Shen, who corrals, wrist shot, wait, and then shoots. Dubnyk makes a fantastic reverse blocker with the palm of his blocker hand, and the puck kind of flutters, hits the post, comes down, and he was on his back, so he was kind of curving around, and his pads swung around and kind of bumped the puck, and kind of slid in, and Schwartz was kind of whacking and jamming away at it, and it goes in.
You know what? my first reaction to every goal is always yes, and then I'm like, oh, this was the one goal where I don't know if I noticed exactly what happened right away, but right when the puck went in the net, I go, oh, poor Dubnyk. Like he made a phenomenal save, and he played that so well, but he ended up just muffing the puck a little bit and put it in his own net. I mean, you can't ask for a worse scenario for a goaltender because he made a ridiculous save on Kyrou on that break-in.
Well, that happened to Jake Allen a lot. That kind of series.
Yes.
He'd make a great save, and then something goofy happened a second and a half later, and it wouldn't go in. So,
who was it that Kyrou beat to go on the breakaway? AJ, that wasn't Carlson?
That was Carlson.
Was it?
Yes,
that was
Eric goddamn Carlson.
I mean, again, we can sit here and laugh about Eric Carlson all night, but for a rookie, that is an unbelievable move to make on a guy that, he looks up, he knows who that is. He knows it's Eric Carlson, and he makes that move on him and goes around him, and former Norris winner.
Yeah.
Just a great heads up by Kyrou, and goes to show the level of the level of confidence this kid has right now. I mean, he's been phenomenal to start the season.
No, I was blown away by that. And, you talked about Faulk earlier. I mean, wasn't it Faulk that used both Knizhov and Ferraro as screens, essentially shooting the pucks, right between the legs? So, I mean, you got to take your hat off for that. Both of those are those are ones I look at and I get, Dubnyk, you got to pick up at least one of those.
Yeah, one was Kyrou's goal and one was Faulk's goal, because Faulk's other goal was a redirection, the Pavelski
I gotcha.
Yeah, right. Or was that that was Hoffman?
Second,
that was
somebody's leg.
No, I thought it was Faulk's second went through Ferraro's legs.
Okay.
Ferraro's second was a redirect. Yeah. And Kyrou's second was through somebody's legs. The snipe that he had on the top corner.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
The game winner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Kyrou. Yeah. Okay. That's it. Yep. You're right. Ferraro.
Top of the circle. And this is, and Jeff and I had a discussion with online, and I think both things are true here. I think it was a fantastic shot, but I also think that it was from top of the circle. Granted, it was a screen through his legs, but AJ, I mean, is this a save that you would have, that you say, oh, I think Dubnyk could have had that one, or is it one that you're like, that's a snipe that's going in?
I mean, two things can be true. I mean, when it's that far away and there's kind of like no real traffic there, I think that's something you got to be able to pick it up. But again, we're talking about Dubnyk, a guy who did not have a good season last year and hasn't played for 10 months. So, I mean, he was played out of his job by Stalock, right? So
basically.
Yeah. So, and that's got to be demoralizing when, you're played out of your gig by a guy who's basically, I mean, he hasn't retired, but he's like out indefinitely right now. So either way, I don't know.
Size as Mickey Rooney?
Say what?
Isn't he the same size as Mickey Rooney as well?
Who, Stalock? No, he's not that small. No, he's not that small. But it's I don't know. I'm just the thing that gets me about the goaltending sometimes when you hear the complaints about it, and I get it because statistically it's there, but the thing that nobody can kind of figure out is you sit there and go, my God, Aaron Dell, Martin Jones, just two of the worst goalies to ever strap on the pads. And if you look at their stats, 18-19 and 19-20, they're almost identical. And what happened 18-19? Went to the Western Conference Finals. What happened the next year? Almost the exact same numbers, and they're basement of the West. And yet the numbers are almost identical. So can you really lay it all on your goalies?
Am I thinking of Aaron Dell, who was pretty small?
Yeah. No, actually, I think Dell and Stalock probably about the same. Probably about what? Both about 5'11" or so.
Who the hell am I thinking of?
Darren
Oh,
Pang?
you thinking of Urbe? Urbe was like
Urbe.
5'5".
Urbe.
Let's just go with Artur Zerbe.
Yeah.
Urbe was like 5'5" with the skates on, bro.
Oh, he was a tiny man.
So what do they off at here? Third period, Kyrou ties it up in the third. Banks a bad angle shot off Bennington. And I think that's how it's kind of gone for Bennington. He's played well. His numbers aren't good, but he's had some goals go in on him like that. Which I guess you could have said that about Jake Allen too when he was here. He played well and have goals going like that. But and fans got on him for that, which we did too. But and then Kyrou gets his second of the season on a delayed penalty midway through the third, which we just talked about over the glove of Dubnyk from the top of the circle, and that held up for the game winner. So 5-4 Blues last night, and they go back at it again tomorrow night.
I was really impressed overall. The Blues, we talked about it was a 2-0 game after the first period, but I know Curt agrees. I think AJ showed some agreement here too that the Blues were the better team in the first period despite being down 2-0. Just the way that they were able, and it was one of those games where you go one or two ways after the first period. You sit there and you say, okay, Devan Dubnyk is just gonna lights out be the goalie we saw 5 years ago against the Blues, or this is a game where it's the Blues are down 2-0, but they're going to come back. You just know they're going to make that big comeback that they've done in the past. And, they were down 10-0 through 4 periods after the Colorado game. And it was just, Jesus, are they going to score a fucking goal ever again? It was not good, but you just kept thinking, well, they're playing well in this game. They will eventually get one on the board. And it was just all of a sudden they were able to string some goals together, and they picked up their game defensively. Again, I think Bennington had a good game. You could maybe fault him on Couture's tie goal in the third period off the bank. But I thought, again, Logan Couture, a Blues killer, just a great play by him. Like, I feel like he knew what he was doing by putting it off the goalie's pad. And that's just one of those plays where it looks bad for a goalie, but it's really hard for a goalie to defend against. I think overall this was a great game for the St. Louis Blues. A great bounce back win, but I think after going 2-1 with an 8-0 loss right there in the middle and a tough game against San Jose in Game 3, I'm really interested to see what team we get tomorrow night against San Jose.
You and me both. But I will tell you, there was a time where the Sharks had the reputation of nothing cures a losing streak like playing San Jose.
I actually thought that the Blues, obviously they played better than the previous game, but I don't think it was a great game by the Blues. I mean, it was a back and forth game. I thought the Blues made a lot of mistakes. Both teams did. I mean, it was exciting. I mean, it was put up 5 goals, which was fantastic compared to getting blanked the game before. But I mean, if we had played Colorado again last night and Colorado played this same way against us, I think we got smoked again. I mean, we wouldn't have gotten shut out. I don't think we played a little better offensively. But I mean, I could see us losing 6-2, 6-3, something like that. It was, I defensively we had lapses. I saw a lot of stuff that I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, we won the game, great, but I think so. I'm curious to see how tomorrow is going to go, because if we play the same way, I mean, San Jose could beat us tomorrow. I mean, it was a close game, and San Jose was right there, and both teams made mistakes in this game. But like I said, we played better than the game before, much better. But I want to see better than that. I want to see. I mean, this team is supposed to be a Stanley Cup contender. It's only 3 games in. I get it. But eventually, I want to see better play than this. I don't want to see 5-4 nail biters where you're playing, good for a while, poor for a while, allowing some plays you shouldn't. It's not going to cut it. So I want to see some more consistency.
I'll say that I think Game 1 of this season was the best we've seen this team play since March. Mm-hmm. I think that was better than anything we saw in the bubble. And I think this game was the second best game we've seen since March. And that's not saying a lot because I think the Blues played awful in the bubble. They were awful. Even in their 2 wins, I thought they could have played a lot better game against Vancouver. But having said that, 100%, this was an entertaining game.
Yep.
I was at the edge
was.
of my seat the entire night. But yes, and nothing against San Jose. I said this, AJ. I said this on our season preview show that I think San Jose has potential to surprise in this division. Just given
you would be wrong, but go ahead.
Jeff,
No,
tell him your prediction, Jeff, for the top 4.
I picked them to finish 4th.
I
think they could. I think they could edge out Arizona personally, but
I'm kind of eyeballing Minnesota. But go ahead.
Minnesota, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, I think that this was a good game for the Blues, but I'm 100% agreeing with you, Curt, that this isn't the best we can see them play. I think their best game against San Jose, they don't allow 4 goals. It just doesn't happen. Defensively, they were a little scattered. Obviously, you improve that penalty kill. That changes a lot. But overall, after 3 games, a 2-1 record, I'm going to be honest, that's exactly what I thought they'd be. So maybe your goals against and goals for is a little different than I thought it would be, but it's right where I thought they'd be after 3 games.
It's funny because there's chatter about Faulk being the Blues' best player so far this season, and him being a defenseman. And the number one issue with the Blues right now is their defense. It's kind of weird, you know what I mean? So hopefully the rest of missing Bortuzzo, I mean, like when getting him back would be nice. Third pairing guy, tougher shot blocker, but how long he's going to be out, who knows? So.
I'm interested tomorrow to see how the Sharks respond. Obviously, I mean, they've allowed 10 goals in their last 2 games, which, kudos, $26.5 million defense. I know that they gave up a lot of high danger chances last night. We also saw the return of Radim Šimić finally to the blue line. He hadn't played the first 2 games. We got a Rook back there playing with him too, and Knizov. They're going to get obviously sheltered minutes. Šimić still has, when you talk to him one day, the knee is good. You talk to him the next day, the knee is a little bothersome. We'll see how that rolls out through the rest of the season. But, the top 4, it's Burns, Vlasic, Carlson, and thank God Ferraro. I mean, boy, if we didn't have that piece, I don't know what the hell would be going on. But the Sharks, the top 6 are kind of locked, right? I mean, you've got Kane, Couture, Meyer, Hurdle. John Leonard has played himself into a top 6 role right now, kind of pushing down Ryan Donato. But it's that bottom 6. I mean, the third line is kind of set right now where you've got Gregor in between Nieto and Sorensen. And what that gives you is a shit ton of speed, but not a lot of finish. I don't think they're going to be setting any records for goal scoring. But they do have a lot of speed. But Gregor seems to be the 3 games, and then the bottom 4, the only one you can count on is Marlowe because they want to set that record for Gordie Howe. So Marlowe's going to slot in, but the rest of it, it's we're starting to play that. So you think you can be a 4th line center because right now, let me see. Well, I forget who was it. Oh, in game 1 it was Yoel Shellman. He was put on waivers and is now I think on the taxi squad. Then the next game they brought in Stefan Nason on the wing and moved Marlowe over to center. That didn't work. And then last night you saw the debut of Handemark in the 4th line center, and he was pretty responsible for 2 ridiculously bad give-ups that led to rushes the other way. One of them ended up in the back of the net. So that was actually the one that Kyrou blew Carlson's doors off. If you go a little bit before that, Handemark totally flubs that pass. So it's that bottom 6. They're going to have to get it together. Today, there was talk that evidently Donato was taking line rushes with Kevin LeBanc At center, Sasha Shemilevsky, who has yet to play an NHL game.
I actually saw that, and that's I saw some Sharks fans being a little excited about his debut.
Well, I'm excited about his debut, but to me, it just screams like, what the hell happened to Dylan Gambrell? Like, where's this kid been? You know, he's been given chance after chance after chance. He has not been able to get any type of a grip on a spot. And I think it would not shock me to see him get waived. Like
Ryan Donato is a guy that I really thought could be I don't know what the word is, somebody who you don't expect, a dark horse, I guess, to have a great season. And he didn't impress me last night at all.
No, I've yet to be impressed by him as well. And in fact, coming into the season, you know, a lot of teams or, you know, a lot of fans, they sit there and go, you need a top six. You know, you got to have a strong top six. To me, the Sharks have a strong top four. You have Kane, Meyer, Hurdle, Couture. Like, if you want to throw in LeBanc there, maybe. I still don't think he's there yet. And it would not surprise me to see John Leonard pass him on the depth chart before this season is over. I mean, Leonard, he's already pushed Ryan Donato down. So,
man. Yeah, when I saw Donato in the World Juniors a couple years ago, I was I'm sorry, I think it was the Olympics, right? He played in the Olympics for Team USA back in 2018, I think. Because the NHL players weren't there. He really impressed me. I really thought that was a pure NHL talent. Maybe we'll still see it, but I have not been impressed with him with Minnesota, and then obviously last night with San Jose either.
Oh well, and I'm assuming Martin Jones is going to go back in the crease. That's just the way kind of Bugner has set it up, is just kind of like, look, if you play well, you'll get it. If you don't, we're going to the other guy. And you know, I don't think you can hang it all on Dubnyk last night. I don't think you can hang all of the second game on Jones. But Boogie's going to do boogie is what we say. But even in the post-game comments, Bugner was kind of calling out that this team is making mistakes that, you know, we worked on for 3 weeks in camp, and they're still making some of the same stupid mistakes. And he kind of called EK out by name, you know, and said, look, Carlson, I thought his first game was below average. His second game was a little bit better, but he's getting caught when he shouldn't be.
He's still to this day, I still see his speed, but it's just he moves in at just the wrong time. Like, his awareness is way off.
Yeah, mental lapses. But when you say you see his speed, is he skating next to Kyrou or is he sitting next to Pavelski? Because there's a big difference there.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, against Kyrou, obviously not. But I mean, I think, you know, average NHL speed, it's still there. He's not getting blown away by some of these guys, but yeah, clearly he's not the guy he used to be.
Well, and you made the point earlier, and we've been talking about it for a while, is just that he shies away from contact. He won't take a big hit. He's easy to muscle off pucks. Well, he's the complete opposite of Burns, who's like kind of like, yeah, come on, let's hit it, let's go. Yeah. And Carlson wants to try to get around you, skate around you. If you can lay one good hit on Carlson early in a game, I think you rattle him. I don't, you know, like, I don't think Carlson, there are certain players that if you got under their skin, you know, like Owen Nolan comes to mind. If you pissed him off, he played better pissed off. And Carlson, I think he's one of those guys, you get under his skin, he's gonna fold.
Where did you have San Jose finishing this season, AJ?
Honestly, I'm pretty sure I had them at like 6.
Okay.
I was kind of like, basically, I think this season could very well end up kind of like last season, where you see all 3 California teams finish, you know, in the bottom 3. I figured it was kind of a lock that it's Colorado and Vegas are going to fight for the 1 and 2. St. Louis slots into the 3. And then you've got Minnesota, Arizona, and maybe one of the other teams battling it out for that 4th wildcard spot. Could San Jose get in there? Yeah, but again, I look at the pieces. I sit there and go, top 4, not a top 6. Look at the bottom 6. There's just, I don't know where any extra offense is going to come from. And then if you're not going to bring something offensively, then you better be a shutdown line. And defensively, they just, they're giving up too many high danger chances. And you potentially, when you've got whatever line it is out there and you've got Burns and Carlson behind them, it's like having 5 forwards. That's how they play it. So it's again, like that guy from NHL radio. So when Carlson's on the ice, everybody should be afraid.
And the Kings are not helping anyone's cause. They're let's see, the Avalanche are winning 3-1 right now in the third, late in the third. So the Kings are on the power play right now, though. So maybe they just scored. How about that? 3-2.
Springs eternal.
Oh, well, looking forward to tomorrow night. I think that might do it for this show, Jeff, unless you got anything else.
Yeah, actually I do. Because we got a comment from Sean Nolan, friend of the show. Sean used to write for the Hockey Writers, I believe, actually. Sean says, ask AJ if he was surprised if the Blues were placed in the West Division this year. I'm sorry, are you surprised to see the Blues joining the West Division?
No, I was surprised to see Minnesota. I thought it was going to be Dallas. I mean, I figured Dallas, St. Louis, and Colorado. I mean, you knew it was going to be Colorado just based on how geography works, but Dallas and St. Louis, that's what I thought. Now, if you're San Jose or the other California teams and you're going, I'm sorry, you're bringing in who? You want to bring in the team that won the Cup a couple of years ago? You want to bring in the team that went to the final this past summer? And Colorado, who was the sexy pick to win it this year? Really? All three? Like, I don't know if there was something going on in the back that says, you know what, we need to make the Central a little more competitive. We can't put these powerhouse teams all in one division. So I'm wondering if that's why they swapped Dallas and Minnesota. I don't know. When you guys were watching this, did you notice, like I did, it seemed like over the course of the week, the division kept changing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was Dallas. It was Dallas and it was Minnesota. Then we were in the West. Then we were in the Central. Yeah, and then we all know how it turned out. It's us and Minnesota. So, I mean, we talked about this on the show. I was a little. I thought we should have been in the Central, but I mean,
who moves into your spot in the West then?
Dallas.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I think only because of selfish reasons. I wanted. Okay. So I've always been a proponent of more divisional games. I love divisional games against rivals, division rivals, more in a season. I like that. And so this season, with the shortened season and only playing divisional games, I would have loved to have played the Hawks 8 times and the Predators 8 times. And the Red Wings being in the Central this season, that'd have been a renewed rivalry there, hopefully, with them. That'd been fantastic, just as far as, those matchups go. And, Tampa Bay, there's not really any history with the Blues in Tampa Bay, except for a couple of games a year. Good games, actually, recently, but still. But that would have been a nice matchup there. So I think people are thinking that the Tampa Bay is going to win it in a walk. The Central this year. So, I mean, that would have given them some competition, at least, on paper. So, I mean, I don't be wrong, though. San Jose is a nice rivalry. LA is a nice rivalry. Colorado should be developing into a fantastic one.
We'll see you guys in Vegas.
And Vegas, yeah. And that's interesting because we've never lost to Vegas in regulation yet. So
wish we could say the same. But, but St. Louis, as far as if memory serves, San Jose hasn't seen a team more in the playoffs than St. Louis. I think Detroit is a close second, but I look at it from that regard. And, like you're talking about with rivalries, San Jose really doesn't have anything at all with Minnesota other than, I don't know, fleecing them for Brent Burns maybe, but rivalries, no. But back in the day, you rewind the clock with Dallas. I mean, we had the whole thing with Eddie Belfour. I mean, Owen Nolan absolutely running him and some of the stuff. Who was it? Grant Marshall, Jason Marshall, something Marshall.
Jason Marshall, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, when Owen Nolan almost decapitated the guy. I mean, back when in the mid to late '90s, back when Dallas and San Jose played in that same division, boy, there was some heated games that would go back and forth between those two teams. So I could see Dallas being in this division instead of Minnesota. But
real quick, I'm sorry, I gotta try and flex my NHL memory muscles here. The trade for Brent Burns with Minnesota was Charlie Coyle.
Yes.
Three. Ah, damn.
Three pieces.
Charlie Coyle was one, right?
Yes, sir.
Devin Setaguchi.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to say a first-round pick.
Yes, sir. That turned into nothing. Yeah. No, you nailed it.
There we go.
And still ended up being a fleece. Well, I mean, look, is Charlie Coyle still with Minnesota? No. So, it ended up working out.
Yeah, he's with Boston. They ended up they got Donato in that deal, right?
You might be right.
I think I am. I'm going to look, actually. Let me find out.
I don't know.
Anyway,
anytime you try to follow any type of movement like this, you look like you're, on the X-Files or something with all the all the yarn strapped to the map, trying to go, okay, well, this guy went from here, then traded to there, but
Yeah, so actually, Charlie Coyle, there it is. Boston Bruins acquired Charlie Coyle from the Minnesota Wild in exchange for Ryan Donato and a 2019 fifth-round pick.
Dear Lord. Charlie Coyle, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yep. Member of the Blues, or the team that the Blues beat in the Stanley Cup Final in 2019.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the bet that I think we're going to start around here is if we see Melnichuk start a game, who is like basically our third string goalie right now, the one that we're kind of hyped up on, because Josef Kornash down with the Barracuda, he's had little flashes, but he lacks consistency. But this Melnichuk kid seems to be the one that a lot of people are hyped up on. And if Jones and Dubnyk continue to kind of have the games that they've had, again, small sample size, but let's see it after 10 games. See are things starting to come together, because again, abbreviated camps, no exhibitions. So let's see what we have after 10 games. But if you're still looking at the goaltending going, yikes, then I don't know if you give that kid a look or not. But I know if after, because Doug Wilson was telling everybody it was all about getting off to a hot start. The last 2 years have not been great starts. Last year's camp was shit. This year camp, the vibe was supposed to be great. People were having fun, and hey, maybe this whole stuck in Arizona thing could be good for the group to come together. And well, what are you at right now? You're 1-2. So let's see it after 10 games. Let's see where you finish on the chart. Last time I checked the standings, aside from where was it Colorado? Who was in the basement a minute ago?
Colorado's 3-1. They're about ready to be 4-1.
What was I thinking? Oh, Colorado. No, but Colorado in the division, they're 6th. And you kind of go, really?
Oh, right.
But if you look at it, it's like if you slot Colorado into the top 3 and move everybody down a spot, you go, yep, that's about where I had it.
Sorry, Colorado is getting ready to be 2-1. I was way off. So
okay, but once they hit that, they slot up into what, the 4th spot?
They'll be tied for second. Actually, they'll probably have the edge because head to head. So they'll be 2-1 with the Blues.
They'd be tied with Minnesota for second
and St. Louis.
But
see, there you go. That's my point. After they win this, refresh your browser. After they win this, refresh your browser. When you see Colorado up there with 2, 3, and 4, take a screenshot, because I'm telling you, that's how most people had this whole thing set up. And it's funny that you don't usually in a regular season, you don't see that. There's usually 1 or 2 teams that kind of have a big start. Like I think Vancouver did that a couple seasons ago, where you're like, wow, where did this team come from? And then March rolled around and you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty much where we had them.
Yep. I want to add real quick, it's not a comment. It's from Twitter last night when the Blues were down 2-0. Somebody tweeted me. I forget who, but somebody tweeted me and asked, when do you start considering moving assets at the trade deadline? And he said like Hoffman and Schwartz. And I
oh, what?
listen.
After 3 games?
I get people being concerned with a shorter season, being concerned after a couple games, but third game of the season, down 2-0. Basically, you're down 2-0 after 7 periods of hockey in the season.
They're 2-1.
Don't panic, Blues fans. Well, that time they were 1-1.
Oh, only 1-1 after 2 games. Oh my God.
I don't know, but I'm saying they might have been down 1-2, and but I'm saying I disagree 100%. We don't. What I said was, in a shortened season, do not look at 3 games. At the very least, you look at 10 games and say, how did they do in the first 10 games of the season? Then you start evaluating. But right now,
I'd say at least 25. I mean, unless you're just stinking up the joint.
Yeah, you're talking 3 games. I'm like, I can see that after 23 games.
Yeah,
but not after 3 games.
Yeah.
I said after 10 games, reevaluate, and maybe you say, okay, what do we need to start preparing for?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's,
I think if your expectations are poor, and you get off to a 2-8 start, then okay, we are who we thought we were, and we'll entertain trades here in the near future. But man, 10 games is still real early for me. I'm halfway, halfway, 25 games.
Well, see, as a Sharks fan, we're looking at at least for me, I came at this as like 15 games. Let me see the first 15. Is it beyond where we were, last season? Are we seeing progress? Are certain guys, because a lot of guys last season, Kane, Myers, Sorensen, guys that were expected to kind of take a little bit of a step forward, all kind of regressed early on. Even Antti Suomela, who's, with the Barracuda right now. So let's see where we're at after 15 games for the Sharks. And then we can kind of see if we need to go, over to Home Depot and start picking up, fire sale signs or something.
Yeah. Chris S. in the YouTube chat, I think he's a Sharks fan. He says Sharks fans are ready to burn it down after 2 games. Granted, they'd be ready to burn it down after any result, but dominating wins, in which case they are a lock for the cup.
Well, you should be familiar with that, Chris S., because if memory serves, he sent you guys a real nice case of beer.
Oh, that is Chris.
Is that Chris? Yeah.
Yeah, we know Chris. Okay. No, Chris S. could be so many people, AJ. We don't.
No, I believe you guys had a nice little wager with him, and he paid off quite well.
That was fantastic.
We enjoyed. What was that one? Modern something?
Modern Times.
Modern Times.
Oh man, I enjoyed their beer so much. That was great.
Yeah, they're solid. And in fact, Logan Couture is working with the local brewery out here, Hoppa's Brewing, and he's got some sort of IPA or some special recipe that he's doing that goes to like the Logan Couture Foundation. But solid pickup.
We need to talk to you off air sometime, maybe a group chat, AJ, about doing a season series bet. That needs to happen.
Oh, okay. Chris, you better get in on this because beer is going to be involved.
We said something about just having each other's logos, like you guys have to broadcast a show with the Let's Go Blues Radio logo or something like that.
Yeah, well, I remember at one point, actually, you know what? I think we won a bet where you guys had to wear Teal Town USA shirts, but we never ended up sending them over to you because we sold out so fast, and we haven't had a chance to print up some more yet because we're going to do a new design or something.
There was one bet too where something was displayed blues on your show at some point. Eric put up there. I remember that. Yeah, it
was either that or I think for like a day, for 24 hours, we had to change our Twitter avatar to the Let's Go Blues logo.
See, that's an interesting one. Yeah, okay, that's it was something like that.
Tell you what, AJ, I'm gonna speak for the trio here and say, if you still want to make good on that bet and send us Teal Town USA shirts. We will wear them for a show.
We got to get a new batch, brother. So we can make that happen.
As you get them, you send them our way. We will wear them.
The Blues logo on Puck Guy's face.
It'd be an improvement.
Yes. Okay. There you go. Yeah. The lower thirds were all
After
switched
dark.
to Let's Go Blues. Okay. That makes sense.
All right. Fun stuff.
Absolutely.
I didn't mention this earlier, and I probably should have. The NHL is doing custom helmet decals that pays tribute to Willie O'Ree and Martin Luther King Jr. All throughout Black History Month. So starting yesterday, was it, or the day before? They unveiled those stickers. So we're honoring that as well. We have the logo displayed in our show here, so we'll continue to do that all throughout February as well. So we're happy to do that.
Let me ask you guys a question. Have the Blues released a schedule for what games are going to be rolling their retro reverse sweaters in?
Not that I've seen. I don't think any team has, have they?
No, Washington did earlier today. Calgary's already done it. There's a small handful of teams, and I'm just kind of like, well, what the hell's going on? Like, why wasn't this like just a big reveal like the NHL likes to do, where they do, an hour-long show for a 2-minute announcement? But I can't believe it wasn't some big reveal, because this is an NHL-driven thing. The NHL is driving this retro reverse thing. I can't believe they didn't do that.
Well, maybe it's because that if there were fans in the stands, it would be something they would unveil to then sell tickets for these games. Maybe.
Oh, and to push the merch too.
Right. And from what I understand, that at least with the Blues anyway, there's a very limited number of retro reverse jerseys out there. I don't think they have a ton of them.
I think that's league wide.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's because they don't think they're going to sell a ton, or what the reason behind that is.
Have you looked on eBay lately? You've got people trying to sell those Colorado Nordique jerseys for $400 or $500 a piece, and they're getting them because the demand is so high.
Well, I get that, and if they're sold out, I mean, the horrendous Blues retro reverse jerseys. There's a section of the fan base that absolutely loves that design. They love the clown jerseys from the mid-late '90s. So, some people just like bad design. What can I say? So, and there's gonna be a demand for some of those jerseys that aren't looking that great. So, someone will pay $400 for a retro reverse Blues clown jersey this year on eBay if they're sold out and you can't find them, guaranteed. It's just, I don't know. If you can't find something, someone's gonna like ugly, and they're gonna pay for it. So,
I don't understand how you misjudge demand that poorly, and you do it consistently. I see that all the time. Where people are, at NHL Shop, at Fanatics, at whatever, they're people just constantly complaining like, hey, when are you going to get this back in stock? Where is my jersey? All that type of stuff.
The Blues ran into that problem last year with their throwback, their clown throwback. They had they didn't make a ton of them, and they sold out. And people were wondering, where are they? And then people were saying, oh my gosh, they sold out. They were so popular. Well, yeah, I guess they're popular in the sense they sold out, but I wonder what the real demand was. If they had put in stock, just a lot of them, would they have sold them out? Maybe they would have. I don't know. But it's interesting. Maybe they created a demand that there wouldn't have been otherwise. So
possibly. I mean, I know people are still looking for the 25th anniversary heritage jersey that the Sharks had, even though the 30th looks almost identical to it, but one's Reebok design versus the Adidas, and I'm preferable to the Reebok one actually, but I don't know. I'm just surprised. It's like the Sharks were 3 games in. Now, granted, we don't know when the Sharks are going to be playing at SAP. I'm just a little shocked that we haven't seen a schedule release for either the reverse retro or the heritage jersey with the Sharks involved. But again, I'm still surprised the NHL didn't put out a whole reveal, and it's like, oh, this is, it's because it's supposed to be about rivalries, right?
The retro, as far as when they're going to be used in games.
It's like, you're not going to see like Toronto playing LA in reverse retro, not a lot of history there, but I can
this
see
year anyway, but
but I can see St. Louis and Chicago. I can see San Jose and LA. Like, let's see those. And I believe they're supposed to use them for the games in Tahoe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think they are. Yep, I think that's right.
Okay.
So I'm just surprised there hasn't been a big blanket announcement. But I was curious if St. Louis had done it yet. That's all.
Well, I'd like to know in advance so I can turn the contrast down on my TV when these bright red things come on the ice, because they're going to be like burning my eyes out. Too much red.
I might have to turn mine up because of that dark gray. I don't know.
So I guess that will do it. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's blow-away grooming products. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with code LGB. Look good, smell good, feel good with Manscaped. And by ID Life, the world's only true personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment and your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com and talk to Dustin today. That will wrap up episode 19 of season 9 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. AJ, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it very much. Always a good time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, before we go,
Freddie-
let the folks know where they can find you. Is that what you're going to say, Jeff?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Of course, Teal Town USA, the website, Twitter, YouTube, all those things. Going live after every single Sharks game, and then our weekly wrap-up show, The Pucknologist, is where you can typically find me, and on social at AJ_Strong.
And I'll add thank you to everybody who's been commenting. We actually had a lot, but we've had a lot of show tonight, so we haven't been able to get to a lot of it. So I apologize for that. But AJ, always fun having you on. And again, any Blues fans who are interested, obviously there's going to be a ton of games against the Sharks this year. And then obviously against other teams, the Blues are going to be battling for playoff position. If you want a good post-game show, better than a call-in show you might hear on the radio, even if it's a Sharks show and not a Blues show, AJ Strong and all the folks over at Puck Guy 14, including Chris S., great guys over at Teal Town USA, put on a great post-game show for every Sharks game. Definitely recommend looking them up and following them on your social media platforms so you can see when they go live.
Thank you. And we're going to have 4 straight against the Blues at the end of next month, so we might have to have you guys bounce over there for a night or two.
It's going to be like a mini playoff series. That's going to be interesting to see how things will carry over. If there's any bad blood in the game, that'll be fun. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Dam, Curt Price. Until next time, everyone. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
AJ, you want to give Let's Go Blues, or would you rather not?
I haven't lost that bet yet.
Isn't it keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real, teal? That's what you guys.
That's Eric's sign off. I don't Eric's do that. That's Eric's thing. I let him have that.
All right. Well, close enough. All right. See you tomorrow night.